Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a pretty fun video. I've been thinking about making this video for quite a long time. Ever since I picked the black and gold Please Please Me up, I was thinking about just kind of going through all of my UK Beatles records. Just the LPs for today. We won't go through any 45s or things like that. But pretty much with that find of the Please Please Me black and gold label, pretty much have all uh, Beatles' first pressings of all their kind of main core catalog discography and albums and things like that. I do have some other pressings in between those, so I'll just show those as well. And we'll just kind of run through their whole catalog. And I brought some other things out that are kind of like a little bit later uh, releases, like in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, things like that were more kind of Europe released instead of strictly UK. But we're going to get into it here, so kind of sit back. This might be a little bit of a longer video, but I'll be showing off some cool stuff here. So I'm going to start off again with my most recent pickup. We got the black and gold Parlophone label here, and again, this is a second pressing here. And I got these little index cards. I got like all the stampers, matrix numbers, and mothers on here, and the specific pressing and things like that on there. So if there's anything cool to mention, I will kind of refer to the index card here. I've been doing that for a few days now, just kind of going through all of them, going through my book, make sure I got everything squared away. All right, next up, we got a few Please Please Me's because I never thought I was going to get a black and gold pretty much anytime soon, but I found a good deal on eBay. So these were kind of the other ones I had in my collection in place of when I would finally get that one. So this one is a third pressing, which has the extra 33 in the third right there on the label. So you go, that's also a pretty tough one to find as well. And then the next one, I believe I got this at one of my local record stores, and it's probably one of the best condition early Beatles albums I have. So this is technically a fourth pressing, which has the same layout as the third pressing, but it just doesn't have the extra 33 in the third. It would be in that area. So I'm just going to pull this one out because it's a really nice shape from 1963. I mean, even the back is pretty clean and pretty white there, which is cool to see. The only thing it probably has is just a little corner ding right there, but other than that, it's probably my best condition. Please Please Me. Put this back in here. So we had now the second, third, and fourth pressing, and then probably the most common one that you would see out there would just be the fifth pressing from 1964. No, still 63. So, and that's what the label looks like there. And the last Please Please, oh no, I got a couple more. This one's from 76, just the 2-box EMI pressing. And then the last one is from 1980 on this 2-box EMI. Now it may look kind of the same. I've been kind of doing a little research and trying to figure out. There's a lot of stuff that's different in the rim text that kind of differentiate different pressings from the 70s and 80s. I'm still not quite on top of what to really look for at all the times. But one thing you can do sometimes as well, if you look at the inner sleeve, if it has it, sometimes it tell you the date at the bottom. So the only thing you would kind of have to look at is there. Now it seems like they've had a set range for these pressings, so like some of them could be from 60, or I mean from 70 to 76. They all might be the kind of similar pressing, things like that. But anyway, now we'll go to With the Beatles, and this is my mono copy of With the Beatles. And this is a second pressing with the Dominion credit on it. That's what the label looks like there. And the cover has, let's see, gotta on the sleeve instead of got a. My other copy is actually a stereo copy with the Joe Bet credit on the label, and then the cover has got a on the label. So I kind of got a little bit of a mix and mash of covers and credits for my two with the original with the Beatles. So. And then my last with the Beatles here is just going to be another 76 two-box EMI. Next up, we got Hard Day's Night. This is a first pressing mono with the chubby font on the back, or on the label. And this is going to be the first 1969 pressing that I have on the EMI one box. So I like to keep an eye out for these when I'm out and about. They still have the original flipbacks and everything like that, and it's supposed to sound still pretty good using the original matrices and all that kind of stuff. And my last A Hard Day's Night is the what was this called? National Album Day from the UK. This was the one on white vinyl. I'll pull this one out. This came out in 2024. Uses like the 2009 mixes, but it's just on white vinyl, which is nice to see. Off to the very first UK first pressing that I've ever found was at a record show, and it is a stereo of Beatles for Sale. This old and UK text up top. And this one has a one mother on side one, 16 stamper, so kind of early mother, I guess. I don't know. Still all the details about that. All right, next, Beatles for Sale, and we're going back to the 1969 EMI one box. And then this is just a 76 EMI two box. And this is going to be a 1984 two box. Font's a little different from the other one. So there are all the Beatles for Sales. Then I got a couple helps here. This one's in mono. First pressing with the I believe the with the serifs is on the font. And then the next one is also a mono, but this one does has the Time New Roman's font. There was something between the two fonts that were a little bit different. So that is the label for that one. Right, off to Rubber Soul. Now, of course, I didn't even mention in my last video, of course, when I was out of town, they mentioned the new Super Deluxe reissue of the Rubber Soul album. So I've been waiting to hear something from that for the past 3 years, and of course, they had to announce it when I was out of town. But that being said, we got I got a few Rubber Souls here, and this is the loud cut version of the Dash 1. And that is the label here in mono. And next up, I just have a standard Dash 4 pressing here, also in mono. And then the last Rubber Soul was actually a gift from my brother, and it is the unofficial one from 2015 on green vinyl, but it still looks nice. So I know Target is going to have a orange vinyl, so it'll be kind of a nice complement to this one. All right, on to the Revolvers. This one I just picked up recently as an upgrade, and this is the Dash 1 withdrawn mix of Revolver. And this one is, I guess, the more standard, the Dash 2. And this one has Dr. Robert spelled out on the label, as the other one has Dr. Robert as in the Dr. Robert. So this one is also a mono. And the last Revolver I have is from 1988. This is a DMM pressing. So this one looks a little bit wider and nicer condition. The label is not really the best. It's a little bit dark with black label and the darker silver EMI 2 box there. Alrighty, off to a collection of Beatles oldies. This is 1966 first pressing here with this one's a mono one with the let's see, wait 1 second, the serifs on the font. Yep, there we go. Next one is a stereo version with the stereo in the actual picture itself, not on the white border. Again, another first pressing. And this one is a 1969. As you can see, the stereo is on the border, and it's the EMI 1 box. And next one is the first Beatles collection of Beatles oldies that I got, and I'm not really too sure. This is just a EMI 2 box label here, and it came with this kind of weird sticker thing. It's not attached to the album. It's like on a little piece of paper, and then I just kind of put it and placed it there in the plastic outer sleeve. I'm not really too sure what it is, if it's a real thing that came with this album or not. If anyone can let me know what this sticker is kind of all about, please just put it in the comments. But there we go. All right, off to the Sgt. Peppers here. And we're going to start off strong with a first pressing mono, and this is actually a fourth proof in the gatefold. It has all the stuff you would see. It has the inner as well, and might as well show this. It's got some. Someone actually used the cutouts to cut out stuff, so that's kind of a first. But there is. Let's see if we can get it. Whoop, there we go. Right there. So that was a nice one to get. Not in the best shape, but I kind of found it on eBay a few years ago. That kind of snuck under the radar, and it probably wasn't. The cover wasn't in the best shape, so people probably didn't really go for it as much. So that one was a mono, and this is my first pressing Sgt. Pepper in stereo. Still looking for a wide spine to add to the collection. And then this one I think is in really nice shape. This is 1969, again 1 box here, and I'm pretty sure this was probably the best condition Sgt. Pepper I have. Let's take a look. So, looks to be all right. So I remember playing this one and being really happy with how it sounded. Well, speaking of things in good condition, I kind of forgot I had this one. This is a 1981 mono edition with kind of the old school, I guess, from that point, yellow and black Parlophone label. And I remember finding this one and being pretty happy to find one of these mono ones kind of out and about. I know there's the mono box set in that red that kind of looks like the BC13 box set, and those go for crazy amounts. I think this is the only really 1981 mono I've seen of any Beatles album, and just happened to be at a local record store. So I was more than happy to pick that one up. And then we got another kind of an official release here. This is Sgt. Pepper on red vinyl. This came out in 2011. So again, this was just at a local record store. Not quite to the White Album yet. We got the Beatles first before that, and this came out in 1967 on the Polydor label here. Alrighty, now we can go to the White Albums. This is a first pressing top loader in stereo with the EMI recording on the Apple. So I guess it's kind of technically a second pressing. The first ones didn't have the EMI recording on the label. But with that being said, this is my mono version of the White Album, and this one does not have the EMI recording on the labels. And I believe I found another one at a local record store for somehow, and I found another White Album mono, but this one had the EMI recording, so I couldn't really pass up another mono White Album from my local record store. And then this one is technically, I think, called an eighth pressing from 1984 to 86 kind of time frame. And there it is. And then this one's kind of weird. The Beatles is up here. It seems to be higher up, but there is what the Apple label looks like. Off to Yellow Submarine. We have I finally was able to find this one. I had one just kind of slip through my hands a couple years ago, but it finally came back. And this is a Yellow Submarine. This is a mono version, first pressing. And the one that I originally had for quite a long time is the stereo first pressing of Yellow Submarine. Got a few Abbey Roads coming up. This is a first pressing with no Her Majesty on the label. And then this is a second pressing with Her Majesty on the label. I recently just kind of picked this one up at a local record store. And this is a 1976 copy of Abbey Road. Has a little bit of a lighter label, as you can see there. All right, off to Let It Be. This Let It Be is part of the Let It Be box set that I have. I kind of pieced it together. I found the outer box by itself at a estate sale, and they just said I could have it. So that was cool. And then I finally picked up the Get Back book by itself, and then I found the record with the red apple on the back to go with it. So this is Let It Be first pressing there. And then this is also a Let It Be first pressing, but this one's pretty cool. It has the Parlophone export cover with it. So again, the album itself is a first pressing. It's just the only thing that's different is the cover and it being a Parlophone logo on the back. All right, and then kind of similar to the Beatles first that I showed earlier, this is the early years, more Tony Sheridan type stuff, and this is on the Contour label there. Supposed to sound pretty good. I believe Parlogram mentioned it in one of his videos back in the day that was kind of the best sounding version of that album. And now we kind of go for a couple export issues here. We have Hey Jude, excuse me. Okay, we have Hey Jude here, and this is a first pressing with paperback writer broken up into 3 words, and then Revolution as Revolutions that has an S at the end of it. So that was very cool. And then this one is pretty much like a first pressing, second variation type deal, which is again, Hey Jude on the dark apple label has paperback writer still in 3 words, but they finally corrected Revolution with just Revolution. So that is this pressing here. So that is pretty much all the main core catalog discography albums, but I do have some compilations and things like that to show here. This is a first UK pressing of the Red album. As you can see, my Red and Blue album going to have a chunk taken out of the corner. I think these were kind of just cutbacks or things that were set back for cosmetic flaws, but the records were in really nice shape, so I picked them up anyways. So that was my first Red album, and then this is a 1994 Europe. I think yeah, digitally remastered version on red vinyl with a weird Apple logo there. And then here is the first pressing of the Blue album. Again, I got a little corner chunk taken out of it, but again, the records are in nice shape. And then, of course, since I got the red one, I had to find the blue one. I think they were both together on a wall at an antique store. So that was kind of a nice find. And then, I don't know about you guys, but when I collect red and blue albums, if I get one version of the red album, I kind of need to like find its counterpart for the blue album. But that's just kind of me. All right, next up, another Tony Sheridan type album here. This one came out in 1976 on the Mr. Pitwick label there. And the last one I have in this crate, I got a few others that kind of spilled over to another crate, so I'll get that next. We have the Beatles tapes on Polydor here. A 2 record set from 76. Okay, I got the last batch of records here to show you. And this one's from 78. Now officially part of the core catalog, but not from kind of the original UK standard. But we got Magical Mystery Tour here. And this one is going to be the yellow vinyl version there from 78. Going to 1977, we got the Beatles Love Song, and this is on a 2-box EMI label there. Now going to 1980, we got Rock and Roll Music Volume 1 and 2 on the MFP labels. Then we got a couple ones from on the Phoenix label. We got the early years Volume 1 and early years Volume 2. Again, that's just on the Phoenix label there. And my only 12-inch single from this from the series that came out in 1982 for the 20th anniversaries. We got Beatles Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You. The label's pretty cool. Probably one of the worst buys I've ever had. Paid a little bit too much when I was younger on it, but you live and you learn. And then now we got some compilation albums that were kind of more Europe wide, but I kind of stick them with the UK section in my collection. We got Past Masters Volume 1 and 2 from 1988. That's what the label looks like. I have a European version of Live at the BBC. I still need to find Live at BBC Volume 2 that came out in 2013. I have the CD for it. That was one of the first Beatles releases I remember going on release date and getting, and I actually got a little promo CD with it. I just didn't get the vinyl. I got the CD at the time. So now we got the really good Yellow Submarine soundtrack, and this is going to be the yellow vinyl version because you got to have the yellow vinyl version with the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, right? And that came out in 1999. And I think I have the DVD from 99 as well. But this one is a slight reissue from 2005 on the black vinyl. And we finally made it to the last album here from 2003. We have Let It Be Naked, and that is the bonus 7-inch in there as well. And that is the label. So I hope you enjoyed all these UK pressings that I have. Again, it took me, been collecting probably close to 13, 15 years now, so it took me that long to find all that stuff, and kind of the next step, I think, from a UK collection is to try to get a mono and stereo version of every original UK album, and then probably from there, then we'll have to step up finding some mispressings like the Sgt. Pepper Without a Day in the Life, things like that, some mispressings here and there. But that will be way down the road, and I know those are only getting more and more expensive. But for right now, we'll have to try to find a mono and stereo and then I'll try to also find some 1969 one box labels as well. I kind of like having those, kind of considering original reissues from the 60s. Pretty cool as well. So hope you enjoyed that. I know there's probably a lot of cuts and everything like that, but I just wanted to get through everything. And then the next video will be a record show. The record show I'm going to is going to be the next day after I'm recording this video. So that'll probably come out a few days after I post this one. So stay tuned for that. And then I'll also get a part 2 from the record road trip update with the vinyl records and 45s out after the record show. So got a lot of things piled up all at once here, but I'd rather have things to do than trying to think of other stuff to put out. So anyway, that'll do it. I'll let you go and stay tuned for the record show haul next.